a new searing public denunciation of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., describing him as a predator who enriched himself while leading family members down the path of despair and drug addiction. But will it be enough to change the minds of 4 Republican senators and sink his nomination as Donald Trump's health secretary? Welcome to the No Spin Zone. Graph's Grievances starts right now. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. testifying at the first of 2 Senate committee hearings as he seeks to become the nation's health secretary. President Donald Trump nominating the Democrat who ran against him for president before dropping out and endorsing Trump for re-election. Kennedy among Trump's most controversial cabinet picks due to his long and extensive history of aggressively campaigning against public health. And yes, that is admittedly a crazy sentence to write, because who in their right mind would be against improving the health of the public? But that's the thing. Kennedy is not well. He is not mentally healthy. I, of course, am not a doctor, but watching and listening to Kennedy, it is clear that his mind lives in an alternate universe permeated with false and extraordinarily dangerous conspiracy theories. Kennedy has built a career on questioning the safety of vaccines that have literally saved the lives of hundreds of millions of people. His repeated claims that vaccines have caused injuries and raised rates of autism in children are not true. They have been disproven time and time and time again by real scientists and doctors. Kennedy has no medical or science degrees, yet if confirmed as health secretary, he will oversee America's vaccine approval program and would have the power to cut off contracts with the makers of vaccines for more than half the nation's children under an $8 billion federal program. Kennedy's radical and incorrect health views sadly do not end with vaccines. He has also said that if confirmed, he will try to remove fluoride from America's public water supply. The process of adding small amounts of fluoride to drinking water began about 80 years ago to prevent tooth decay, is widely considered one of the most important public health interventions ever. Studies have repeatedly shown that adding fluoride to America's water has reduced dental decay by at least 25% in children and adults. I am not sure how else to say this, but Kennedy wants your teeth to rot and could very soon have the power to help make that happen. Kennedy has also targeted milk. Yes, milk, the stuff you drink, as part of his war on public health, advocating people drink raw milk instead of pasteurized milk like the kind you get at the grocery store. Why is drinking raw milk so dangerous? Because it contains bacteria, including E. coli, salmonella, and listeria, that can cause kidney failure and even death. People who are very young or very old or are pregnant are particularly likely to get seriously ill from the pathogens in raw milk. Yet Kennedy wants everyone to drink raw milk instead of pasteurized milk, which kills those deadly germs. Frankly, the list of Kennedy's deranged public health views goes on, but I think it's important to note that despite his father's so courageously fighting for civil rights, Kennedy has otherized minorities and tried to make them feel ashamed for simply living. Kennedy has embraced the homophobic and transphobic lie that chemicals in the environment are somehow making children gay or transgender. This hateful garbage is not only false, but comes as Republican lawmakers across the country are seeking new justifications for curtailing the rights of LGBTQ Americans. In a similar vein, Kennedy has pushed the racist and anti-Semitic lie that COVID-19 ethnically targeted white and black people while sparing Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people. This too is also not true, but that hasn't stopped Kennedy. But wait, there's more. Since Trump nominated Kennedy to be health secretary, we have learned a great deal more about his personal life, which exemplifies how mentally unwell he is and has been for a very long time.
I've known Bobby my whole life. We grew up together. It's no surprise that he keeps birds of prey as pets, because Bobby himself is a predator. I watch his younger brothers and cousins follow him down the path of drug addiction. His basement, his garage, his dorm room were always the center of the action, where drugs were available, and he enjoyed showing off how he put baby chickens and mice in a blender to feed to his hawks. It was often a perverse scene of despair and violence. That was a long time ago, and people can change. Through his own strength and the many second chances he was given by people who felt sorry for the boy who lost his father, Bobby was able to pull himself out of illness and disease. I admire the discipline that took and the continuing commitment it requires. But siblings and cousins who Bobby encouraged down the path of substance abuse suffered addiction, illness, and death, while Bobby has gone on to misrepresent, lie, and cheat his way through life. Bobby is addicted to attention and power. Bobby preys on the desperation of parents of sick children, vaccinating his own kids while building a following hypocritically discouraging other parents from vaccinating theirs. Even before he fills this job, his constant denigration of our healthcare system and the conspiratorial half-truths he's told about vaccines, including in connection with Samoa's deadly 2019 outbreak of measles, have cost lives. And now we know that Bobby's crusade against vaccination has benefited him in other ways too. His ethics report makes clear that he will keep his financial stake in a lawsuit against an HPV vaccine. In other words, Bobby is willing to profit and enrich himself by denying access to a vaccine that can prevent almost all forms of cervical cancer and has already been safely administered to millions of boys and girls. Bobby continues to grandstand off my father's assassination and that of his own father. It's incomprehensible to me that someone who is willing to exploit their own painful family tragedies for publicity would be put in charge of America's life and death situations. Unlike Bobby, I try not to speak for my father, but I am certain that he and my Uncle Bobby, who gave their lives in public service to our country, and my Uncle Teddy, who devoted his long Senate career to the cause of improving health care, would be disgusted. I urge the Senate to reject his nomination.
That was the notoriously private Caroline Kennedy, the only surviving child of President John F. Kennedy, forcefully speaking out against her cousin, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and calling on senators to reject his nomination for Health and Human Services Secretary. The former ambassador to Australia and Japan, eloquently describing her cousin as a predator, addicted to attention and power. In addition to citing his lack of experience and misinformed views on public health, Caroline saying Bobby encouraged his siblings and cousins down the path of substance abuse, addiction, illness, and death. While crediting Bobby for overcoming his own addiction, Caroline says he is a hypocrite for vaccinating his own children while building a following by discouraging other parents from vaccinating theirs. This forceful 11th hour rebuke coming after we learned that Kennedy privately apologized to a woman who accused him of sexual assault when he was a babysitter for Kennedy's children, including by groping her in a pantry. But will any of this move the needle for the 53 Republican senators who have the power to sink Kennedy's nomination? With most, if not all, Democratic senators and those who caucus with them expected to vote against Kennedy, he can only afford to lose the support of three Republican senators. As of now, a number of Republicans have been non-committal on Kennedy, including Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, a polio survivor, and Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, an actual medical doctor. In addition, Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, the only remaining moderate Senate Republicans, could buck Trump and vote against Kennedy like they did with Pete Hegseth, Trump's choice to lead the Defense Department. That would be enough for Republicans against Kennedy. But as we just saw with Pete Hegseth's confirmation as Defense Secretary, Trump's stranglehold over Republican senators is immense. These people, who are supposed to be dignified leaders in our society, are unfortunately just Trump lackeys, willing to champion every insane idea that pops into his head. Thank you for watching Graf's Grievances. Let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, share, and join me tomorrow for more.